action of proclaiming the gospel has continued to develop through the evolution of various forms from the past till nowadays. At first, the speeches of disciples of Jesus were good examples. Later, the Bible and holy paintings followed as media for spreading the teachings of the Catholic Church. In modern days, too, there is a group of people taking the role of messenger for communication in the Church. SIGNIS is an organization of Catholic faithful who are engaged in media such as TV, radio, internet, etc., with the mission of spreading the teachings of gospel through communication. Its modern mission of transmitting the good news of God is a part of social communication in the Catholic Church. In August 2014, Pope Francis made a pastoral visit to Korea, the first papal visit since that of Saint Pope John Paul II 25 years ago. His 5-day visit, which brought the gift of healing of souls to the Korean people through many overwhelming and moving moments, got the spotlight of global attention. During his visit, Pope Francis readily stood with the vulnerable people of society, comforting them by holding their hands. His touching journey and its footprints, filled with the spirit of love, were represented by various media organizations, of which Cygnus Korea is an active group. Cygnus Korea means Catholic Association for Communication in Korea, which is the community of Catholic faithful working in the field of communication as journalists or broadcasters. Before the beginning of Cygnus, UNDA, the name of the previous organization of Catholic communicators from about 140 countries around the world, was officially endorsed by the Vatican in 1927. Since its start in 2001, Cygnus Korea has continued to grow. Currently, it has about 600 members. Members of the Catholic Employees Club of MBC, one of the major broadcasting companies in Korea, hold monthly Mass at their workplace, giving time voluntarily for this in addition to their regular broadcasting work as employees of the company. This is part of their effort to achieve Cygnus's important goal of meeting regularly to share God's Word with one another. Cygnus Korea has held a joint assembly Mass every half year and a yearly retreat since 2003, through which it keeps trying to devise ways to communicate more effectively among its members. In addition, Cygnus Korea is practicing a joyful companion relationship with the Catholic Journalism and Press Association in Korea, working together toward the common goal of spreading gospel, overcoming the difference of medium, namely vision and paper. Good examples of such efforts include the Catholic Journalist School and a joint pilgrimage to the holy places of Korean martyr saints. In order to accomplish its mission as messenger of gospel, Cygnus Korea has been looking for diversified ways of communication. For example, using each member's skill in video production, it tries to broaden the path of communication through the production of serial video clips on our Catholic Church's teachings. Technical assistance in needy areas done by Catholic Employees Club of KBS is also a good case of such effort. Regular technical volunteer outreach work to help mitigate the inconvenience of people living in fringe area also become the time to share joy, bringing everyone involved to smile. Furthermore, Cygnus Korea held Cygnus East Asia Conference in 2013 with the title of Migrants and Media, providing the precious opportunity for understanding more deeply vulnerable people in the society. At this very moment, the spirit of devotion and service of Jesus Christ is ceaselessly being spread through the genuine communicating of members' hearts. This is the group of people who serve by spreading love through communication in the forum of our regular, strenuous places of broadcasting. Cygnus Korea, messengers and communicators spreading the good news.
Have you heard of the miracle of HongKong? Restoring a war-torn nation to Korea, becoming one of the leading world economy nations, people call it the miracle of HongKong. Korea is also called the country of K-pop, BTS, the country of Parasite, one of the leading countries of the world's culture. Cygnus Korea has been in charge of taking care of the ever-changing media of Korea, and by doing so, planting God's peace in the world. Cygnus Korea represents Korea's Catholic media and its belief in violence-free, peace-oriented martyrdom roots. Over 100 years of persecutions and blood-stained scenes. These people only believed in proving their belief and faith and choosing God. At last, they finally received the freedom of religion through peace. The Korean Catholic Church built a foundation off of nothing. Also, the Korean Catholic Church has done a lot for bringing peace and freedom to Korea. 237 years of the Korean Catholic Church, a history of martyrdom and devotion. Now, Cygnus Korea will create a new history.
하늘에 계신 우리 아버지, 아버지의 이름이 거룩히 빛나시며 아버지의 나라가 오시며
Dearest Asian Catholic community members and everyone from around the world watching this conference via YouTube, it is an immense pleasure to welcome you all to this conference again following yesterday. I am Anna Ji-hyun Yu, communication professional and media personality. I am your host for this SIGNIS Asia TV conference 2021 that is taking place from yesterday to tomorrow by Friday, the 14th of May. The theme of the SIGNIS Asia TV conference 2021 is The Bridge Over the Pandemic, Invitation to a New Catholic Communication. On the first day, we pondered the orientation of the Catholic Church focused on the words of Pope Francis. By sharing our experiences during the pandemic, it was a very productive and fruitful time filled with many great speeches and presentations, along with touching music performances. In particular, His Eminence Cardinal Antonio Tagle's keynote speech, along with His Eminence Cardinal Andrew Yom's remarks, and also Ms. Helen Osman, President of the SIGNIS World, opening remarks, were so powerful, encouraging us to think differently about the difficult time caused by the pandemic. Today, another great keynote speech is waiting for you as we start the second day of the conference. How was the music? The Lord prayers. How beautiful the Lord prayers sung by traditional Korean music. It was a touching and moving melody. Today, the second day of the conference will address about the theme of Are We Connected? When our daily life and religious life ceased due to the outbreak of COVID-19, the Catholic media checked whether the Catholic communication system continues to be united and connecting with people, especially the isolated and indifferent. The conference is live streamed on CPBC YouTube, both in English and in Korean. Anybody watching this conference from around the world is welcome to join by chatting in the chat box or sending any messages, your comments, and even any questions that you might have. Feel free to join anytime. And let us take a preview with a short video clip to think about and take a preview of our theme for the second day.
The COVID-19 pandemic has created a new kind of daily life that will not and cannot go back to the life before the pandemic. The concept of non-contact, which suddenly came knocking to our lives, has now become a normal part of our everyday life at work, at school, and life in general. Now, meeting and trying to connect online has become a new stream of culture. Attending classes, holding meetings, and enjoying performances online are some of the things we have become used to. In this era, when offline contact has been cut off, online tools satisfy human beings' need for connection and communication, building a new set of trends and culture. Such social changes are powerful enough to be heralded as a paradigm shift, the new normal. This era has even changed the paradigm of communication. Then how are Catholic communication tools being used? With the terrifying spread of COVID-19, church doors were closed, and even when they reopened, communities were still not able to gather together to celebrate Mass during the past year. churches in different parts of the world attempted to communicate with the people through different methods. Mobilizing phones, text messages, and social networking platforms, they searched out new ways to communicate and interact for pastoral activities. Broadcasting Mass and holding Mass through YouTube was a must, and diverse religious contents were produced. Keeping pace with such trends, communicators, including media and publishers of different countries, are still continuing to challenge themselves to provide new platforms to maintain and enrich our religious lives. Due to COVID-19, online pastoral activities and developing Catholic contents have become more important than ever before. Since they are the communication tools that realize and share the Christian faith, it is now vital to go beyond quantitative growth and pursue qualitative growth. What more do we have to do to go further from seeing online communication only as a tool and technology to doing more with them? In 2021, in a discourse released ahead of the 55th World Communications Day, Pope Francis pointed out the opportunities and potential risks of online tools and stressed the importance of true communication methods. In his discourse, the Pope declared, "We are responsible for our communication, for the information we share, and for disclosing and controlling fake news." He stated that we were called to become witnesses of the truth and that we must go forth to observe and share. One aspect demonstrating that the world is connected by communication tools is the situation in Myanmar, where people are suffering from the military coup. Writings, photos, and videos that people have posted on social media are playing the most effective role in informing the international community about the current situations in Myanmar. By participating in campaigns where churches and people from different nations post photos on social media, the communication networks are becoming channels for sharing their pain. Likewise, in this age of COVID pandemic, the communication tools connecting us together is becoming an area whose role and importance is ever increasing. What efforts have the global communicators been making in overcoming the pandemic crisis? Are we truly connected? Let us search for the vision that will open an era where online connection is just normal, not a new normal.
Are we really connected? What do you think about that? Let's deeply think about that during entire time of the conference today. And also, you may reach out, you may contact many other people who may be relevant to this conference and its theme while watching this conference today, and interactively chat each other and send a message actively. We'll look forward to reading many interesting your comments. Yesterday, actually, we were a little bit nervous because this was the first time to try mixed media conference using YouTube, Zoom, and TV at the same time, and also globally all over the world across 3 continents, but today, also yesterday, we were healed by great messages from many wonderful speakers and presenters. So we were healed a little bit. So today, let's relax a little bit. I would like to honorably invite the eminent Cardinal Charles Muangbo from the Archdiocese of Yangon, Myanmar, for his keynote speech. His Eminence Cardinal Muangbo, he is the president of the Federation of Asian Bishops' Conference. On behalf of all participants, I would like to thanks, deep gratitude for your accepting. He's accepting to our invitation. Charles Muangbo, Cardinal Charles Muangbo, will deliver a keynote speech titled Network in Pandemic. He will give the guidance on how to eradicate the virus to indifferent through compassionate dialogue. Let's send a big round of applause to welcome His Eminence Charles, Cardinal Charles.
Dear SIGNIS Asia friends, greetings from Myanmar, Minglava, Annyeonghaseyo. It gives me immense pleasure to be with you all. I'm glad that Korean Church and the SIGNIS is organizing this seminar of huge relevance to the world today. We in Myanmar are grateful to Korea for many interventions. The generosity to Myanmar people, your companies employing hundreds, the vibrant Korean Catholic community in Myanmar, which is the model of hard work, generous support to the poor. Korean soft power has pervaded our culture for decades. Your serious, your pop groups, and your culture, your food, including kimchi, have won the hearts of our people. Bridges are already built with the people. It gives me immense pleasure to be with you all. I'm also indebted to the fellowship of the Korean Church in our recent events in Myanmar through their protest, their liturgy, and their generosity. I am thankful to His Eminence Andrew Cardinal Yeom So-jun and all the bishops. I was given the topic network pandemic. I shall modify that into fighting the virus of indifference with a compassionate communication. Of course, the words are inspired by Pope Francis' observation on the COVID and the emerging inequalities and the culture of indifference. I am not an expert on social media, but I have seen the enormous good and the evil social media could do. Aligning with the main theme, bridging over the pandemic, I shall indicate later the need to develop a cohesive narrative as that bridge. Crisis need not always lead to a tragedy, but to new opportunity. My brief task is to show to how networking can bring enormous good, especially to the poor. That needs a new cohesive narrative focused on the least and the lost in the global economy and the scorching pandemic. The pandemic has stripped open the social inequalities and the social economic pandemic of poverty, lack of health care. A new normal itself becomes contested because many of the poor never had any normal cautioning us against any casual use of language. This is the communications era, and all of pervading social media has brought together the human family. The enormous power of the social media can never be understood. It has a capacity to connect millions of people. As Catholics, we need to see how greater good for the greater number of people can be done through network. Not only the internet connects us, the invisible virus COVID-19 has united us in fear, anxiety, and human suffering. As we have witnessed what is happening in countries like India, an existential threat seems to be attacking humanity. In the words of Pope Francis, we are all together in this. We feel the acute sense of interconnectedness, not only digitally, but by the threat of virus and the infection. COVID, the scientists have warned us, is just a window shopping of the impending dangers that are waiting to happen to the human family because of the wanton destruction of nature and man-made disaster of global warming. The message is clear. Either we stand together, bridging all our efforts, or we sink together. The future of humanity is based on our common efforts. Pope Francis has warned us that efforts to prepare the new world may be late. The new world, with all its challenges, have already arrived. Networking too faces many challenges and opportunities. I urge the organizers to see social media as a great opportunity for good. Let me enumerate some of the challenges a Catholic organization like SIGNIS faces. Union of hearts and minds. Technology can play a role, but as Christians, we need to sound a caution. Long ago, President Bill Clinton made an observation. Internet can connect the computers, but it cannot connect the hearts. Humanity will survive by setting the economy and the technology at the service of humanity. It is about union of hearts and minds and not phones. Digital slavery. The gadgets are alluring. As social scientists have warned us, that technology is fast making us digital slaves, addicting us to mutilating narcissism and hatred and fear of the other, leading many to a culture of indifference to human suffering. We are not an extension of the gadgets. Gadgets must be at the service of us. It is about people. No more machines, but deep encounters. Human life is about encounters. A true media tells the stories of the people. A Catholic communication starts with the relationship. Affirming our life is based on the relationships. Pope Francis has brought out three kinds of relationships as articulated in his recent documents. With God, Evangelii Gaudium. With the creation, Laudato Si. With one another, Fratelli Tutti. As the pandemic rages, the collapse of these triple relationships provoked the pandemic of indifference. The pandemic has not only infected human beings, it has infected the way humans communicate. The apocalyptic scenes in India and other places portray how communications were manipulated to meet political needs, infected with false narratives built on dangerous priorities. The response of some of the Asian countries, like Korea, provide an example how good communication can deter the virus spike. We are developing a cohesive narratives as a bridge across culture. One is medium versus message. Cygnus is established to communicate. Is media the message, as Marshall McLuhan said? I tend to disagree. Medium is not the message. Yes, there are great gadgets. Social media is a great tool, but only a tool. Pope Francis uses the media often, but his messages are so deep, so relevant, and simple. In every communication, he conveys deep compassion, always targeting the vulnerable. SIGNIS Asia as a church organization follows such an approach. What is the bridge we build through this pandemic? There is a huge pandemic-provoked human suffering. It has brought out the hidden inequalities. Humanity is broken further into halves, haves, and have-not. A culture of indifference has grown. Social media is powerful only when the message is powerful. The apostles in the early church had a great message, but no media. Now we have the support of a worldwide reach. What is the message? It is a great opportunity to build compassion as a bridge across cultures and countries. Pope Francis is a glorious example of this approach. 2. Mainstream versus the reality. The dominant message after the eruption of the pandemic seemed to have forgotten the lives of the poor. The prevention protocols are good. In many Asian countries, they fail to take into consideration the life of the poor. Social distancing is a great idea, but how does a slum dweller with a single room and crowded slums in many Asian cities observe social distancing? Washing hands presumes running water. Lockdowns presume saving in families. Pandemic has pushed nearly 122 million poor into starvation. The continued use of such language resulted in conditions like India, which threatens to spread to other countries. There are no answers, but at least they give us how a new society needs to be planned for the future. Pope Francis and others have come out with an idea of universal basic income. Pope Francis also has pointed out the cruelty of continued investment in arms, weapons, when the poor countries would not provide a free vaccine to the poor. Pope calls for a new imagination of a future development. I quote, "Today frontiers fall and our fragility is exposed. The Spirit challenges us. This presence is the breath of the Spirit that opens horizons, sparks creativity, and renews brotherhood, and makes us say, I am present in the face of the enormous and urgent task that awaits us. This is the time for a new imagination of what is possible. Preparing not a future, but preparing a new future." 1. Balanced view of vulnerability and invisibility. An invisible virus has shattered the invisibility of human achievements and exposed our vulnerabilities. The mainstream narrative is one of fear and anxiety. Loneliness is the lurking danger. It is our sense of vulnerability that opens the Christian eyes and see that without the other, my existence becomes fragile. Social distancing needs not distance our hearts. Acknowledging the collective fragility, I cannot be healthy unless every other person is healthy. From self-centeredness towards social solidarity. 2. Understanding social economic pandemics. Rich and the poor do not face the pandemic on an equal platform. Poverty is a pestering pandemic. Catholic social teaching urges us to creatively visualize a better world, learning from the past and the present. Looking forward requires targeted engagement aimed at promoting health, critical rethinking of human progress, a renewed solidarity accompanied by social reforms, and a sustainable future. 3. Pastoral accompaniment by portals. COVID has forced on us a long Holy Saturday, silence of the churches, reduced pastoral presence, dilution of the community, great challenges to Catholics. While other Christians have used the media with the great benefit, even doing better during COVID, Catholic Church in many parts of the world struggles hard to use the new media. SIGNIS need to work out pastoral and psychosocial portals that will benefit our people during this long, prolonged Holy Saturday. COVID is a great disruption of all human activity. Disruptions are not always bad. Many of them could bring deep reflection and effect changes. All these events need to be retold through the eyes of faith. Pandemic is not new to Christians. The Bible has many great pandemics. Middle Ages saw great challenges to church. Amidst all those sufferings, lessons were learned. The church and the society moved on. We shall overcome this challenge too. It was Jesus, through his incarnation, retold the story of humanity in a cohesive narrative of redemption. We as a church are challenged to walk the same path of retelling our stories in the light of Jesus as stories of redemption and renewal. Let your efforts at exploring those paths build new bridges to reach new vistas of hope. Thank you. 감사합니다.
감사합니다. His Eminence Cardinal Charles Muangbo. I send heartfelt thanks to the Cardinal and his impactful message. Among his powerful messages, the following strikes me. A new normal can create another kind of inequality. Cardinal Charles invites us to look around those who are indifferent and who are isolated and who are on the other side of the world. This is the time for imagining what is possible in a new way. preparing not for the future, but preparing a new future. A social distancing need not distance our hearts. In fact, Cardinal Muangbo, his home country, Myanmar, are facing difficult time, as we are aware. And also, yesterday, as Cardinal Andrew Yom stated, and also as we watched the VCR, very powerful message from the scene. Sisters, Myanmar's sisters' beautiful story. Maybe we contemplate about the genuine humanity from Cardinal Charles' message. Yes, we are watching the SIGNIS Asia TV Conference 2021 on CPBC YouTube, both in English and Korean. Show us your love and interest by chatting interactively and sending your message on the chat box. Also, if you visit Catholic Korea CPBC on YouTube, you can watch many other programs anytime. Now we will start with the presentations from other participants. We have 12 presenters from 11 countries throughout the conference. In fact, we initially planned to have 13 participants, but recently we had some sad news from Bangladesh. From Bangladesh, special presenters, his colleagues got affected to the COVID-19. So this seems to reflect our reality in the world. So I send my deep consolation from the bottom of my heart to the Bangladesh staff on behalf of all participants. So now we have 12 presenters from 11 countries. And on the last day of the conference, one presenter will be awarded a prize of 500 in cash and a trophy. So maybe you may join to select in this course. If you send any presenters, which presentation you like, then it won't be counted. It won't be added to the score for the jury's score, but it will be a good process to join together. Yesterday, we had 2 presentations for the competing race. Today, there will be 3 more competitors, and 1 special presentation is waiting. And to judge these presenters, 3 juries will fairly evaluate them based on the 4 criteria: creativity, originality, that will be counted 30 points, message content 40 points, technical production 20 points, and presentation will be counted 10 points. And all presentations will be composed of 3 minutes of production and 7 minutes of presentation. Let's say hello to the jury first. Maybe all presenters will need to appeal to the jury. Let me call, yes, Mr. Romulos Lee from CPBC, and Lisa Bazan, say hello. And Mr. Augustine Antuban, yes, hello. Yes, now we will have the next presenters from now on. The presenters will share their productions, so we have only 2 hours the conference today too. So I would like to ask you to aim to finish on time. If there is 1 minute remaining, we will inform you that you might be ready for wrapping up your presentation. The second section is the efforts to connect each country. Catholic communication means to overcome isolated situations. Now the first presenter will be ready for this theme. The first presenter is Father Joby Anand from India, the founder of the director of Amadashan TV from India. Father Anand will talk about life in North India Christianity.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon to all of you. And I have already my presentation ready in the CPBC studio. I would like to ask them to first play the presentation first, and maybe towards the end of it, I will have a little interaction.
Atmadarshan, heartbeat of North Indian Christianity. We have our roots in a team of 15-odd youngsters who, during their graduation days, took it upon themselves to dedicate their time and talents for the works of evangelization under the leadership of then youth director Father Rani. Their enthusiasm and dedication gave birth to a ministry called Towards Jesus Ministry, and later on to an organization called Prerana Communications in the Diocesan Pastoral Center. They regularly conducted youth camps which helped to identify and to foster talents and to design programs according to the given talents. Prerana Communications, with the help of Prarthana Bhavan TV and Ishwani televisions, started producing video contents that gave a lot of first-hand experience, which later on benefited for the establishment of Atmadarshan TV. Atmadarshan TV was launched on the beatification day of Blessed Rani Maria, and the studio was dedicated by Cardinal Amatu on the same evening. Atmadarshan TV is owned and managed by the Catholic Diocese of Indore, Bishop Chaku being its patron. Atmadarshan was earlier functioning as a production house by producing and promoting worshippers, gospel singers, preachers, and motivators, along with albums, documentaries, telefilms, and advertisements. Our platforms were initially YouTube and Facebook, but later the channel was introduced in Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick, and on App Store. But with the beginning of the pandemic, it was a much felt need to telecast 24/7, as by then we had started recorded streaming of holy masses, adorations, and many other such programs. By the end of the year 2020, we were already 24/7 HD streaming in GeoTV, MX Player, and many other OTT platforms. We always found willing collaborators in Shalom TV, Prarthana Bhavan TV, Z Entertainment, Shamaru Television, Ishwani Television, and Matridam Ashram Telecast. International collaborators include Vatican Media Rome, Lourdes TV France, Our Lady of Fatima Portugal, Our Lady of Guadalupe Mexico, St. Anthony of Padua Italy, Divine Mercy Chapel Poland, National Shrine of Immaculate Conception USA, Our Lady of Health Vilankani India, and Shrine of St. Alphonsa India. We have won a few milestones in our journey as well. Some of them include an award for New Ways of Evangelization by Conference of Catholic Bishops of India, also silver button from the YouTube. Some of our achievements include as the initiator of the first Hindi channel to air online adoration, online retreats, and online Bible conventions. We are also the first Asian official channel to restream Vatican media events. First Asian Christian devotional channel to participate in Lourdes TV International Conference. Second largest viewed Christian online media network in India, with a reach of more than 3 million hits per month with an average of 25 minutes. Our social outreach organization was registered as Atmadarshan Foundation in 2018. We have successfully launched Feed a Stomach program, feeding those who starve on the streets, Feed a Family for families who cannot fend for themselves during this pandemic. Of late, we launched plasma donation campaign beginning from us, as we ourselves are COVID survivors. Some of the unique features of our channel include HD and 4K production, HD transmission, genuine software, qualified and committed team. highly equipped audio studio, video studio, chapel studio, edit suites and playout. Powered by an eco-friendly lush green environment and green electricity, prayer tower, counseling, and residential retreat facilities. A unique team of voluntary lay ministers. We have an up-to-date think tank, efficient task force, and round-the-clock protection. That is Atmadarshan.
So that's about us and how we got connected with the people. That I will tell in the next video. Can I have the 3 minutes video, please? CPBC television. Yeah.
Also is on a high alert after the first coronavirus case was confirmed in the country. Government is preparing to evacuate citizens from China's Wuhan city, which is the epicenter of this deadly coronavirus.
Atmadarshan, an initiator of online church in North India, reaching to millions of people who are devastated and panicked. Reaching spiritual consolation to the broken world. Praying and counseling for thousands of devotees. Collaborating with the world's famous Catholic networks and shrines. Spreading to the nooks and corners of the world. Atmadarshan, an icon of hope to the poor in the street. Atmadarshan, an icon of hope to the hungry in the families. Atmadarshan, heartbeat of North Indian Christianity.
Yes, I am sure I have 2 minutes. I just want to conclude. There are two topics which I would like to just touch upon. One is pandemic. Other one is, are we connected? Pandemic, yes, because we, from our studio, about 50 of us were infected. So we are, in fact, in pandemic. And everybody is concerned about India, and very especially when the second wave started, we all got infected and we were all sick. And we went through a very, very harrowing experience. But luckily, God was so merciful to us, and we are back to work and we are hale and healthy. That's pandemic. Second, are we connected? Yes, we are connected. That's what my second video speaks about. We are connected with so many people. We just spoke about 2 programs which we initiated. One is feeding the hungry on the street, feed a stomach, and feed a family programs. The very first day of the pandemic, we were in the streets of our city indoor. And we continued it for 2-3 days. We got quite a lot of media coverage as well, because we are from the media as well. We did not do so much of work, but this became an inspiration for our city. And perhaps we played a role of a catalyst in our city. And you perhaps must have heard about last year's migrant laborers walking about 2,000 kilometers to their villages. And in fact, in all the places they were chased out, but it was not so in our city indoor. About 35 kilometers of indoors roads were full of stalls, welcoming these migrant laborers, helping them with medical facilities, food facilities, and many other facilities. And in fact, they were really welcomed in Indore. We were not part of it. But in fact, our small little work that we initiated was like a seed for this city. We were able to touch the consciousness of this city and its people because of the media coverage that we received. And perhaps we played the role of a catalyst, and perhaps the collective consciousness of this city was awakened. And because of this, millions of people were helped in our city.
Father Joby Anand, it was yes, well done, great work and very powerful message, impactful, the VCR, and your message, especially the connectivity that is well connected with Cardinal Charles' message that we just listened to, and lifeline, especially between mainstream and reality, especially in this difficult time. We deeply think about the lifeline, not just in India, maybe some other side of the world, and maybe in this place where we are standing. Thank you very much, Father Joby Anand. The next presenter, we will have a second presentation. The second presenter is Miss Laura Fu. Laura Fu from Hong Kong. Laura Fu is from the Catholic Diocesan Audiovisual Center. She will present about less is more, we are content.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
到去呢個田灣係咁，而家準備行去聖保祿堂啦咁大概應該好快就可以翻到修院噶啦，估計係。
恭喜晒，成為01嘅參加者。
Okay, let's go.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I'm Laura Fu from the Hong Kong Diocesan Audiovisual Center. So I'm pleased to deliver my presentation this evening with the title "Less is More. We Are Content." And now, after viewing this video, let's play the PPT presentation. Can you please play the PPT presentation? Okay, let's start now. So my presentation today is about how the Catholic Church of Hong Kong responds to the pandemic and how we are connected, or we connect the whole Diocese of Hong Kong. So let's talk about some background of this presentation. And it just started on the mid-February year 2020. And on that day, the Hong Kong Diocese announced for its first time suspending Sunday and weekday masses to respond to the government's urgent appeal, which aims to reduce the risk of viral transmission through human contact. So the faithful were advised to take part in the Sunday Mass online through the diocesan web. And from then onwards, DAVC committed to work further in producing online programs to meet the spiritual needs of the faithful and to connect them to the parish. Otherwise, they will be drifting away from the church during pandemic period. Sorry, can you play the PowerPoint? Okay. So the next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. So now we come to the Sunday Mass online, and this online program is the live event that has the most number of online viewers. And actually, this Sunday Mass live was started in year 2000. At the beginning, we selected a few parishes to live cast Sunday Mass. And please note that this is 20 years ago. We brought our own PC notebook and connected it to an internet with only 56K on every Sunday morning. And you can imagine how the speed will affect the video quality. But why we did this? Partly because of those Chinese overseas. They aired their wish to attend Mass in Chinese, and from then on, we placed increasing resources over these 20 years. And with technological advancement and the increasing resources of the diocese, we then set up a fixed panel and install fixed cameras inside the cathedral. The technician only needs to station at the control panel by switching different shots of the fixed cameras which are installed in different positions of the cathedral. And now we use a dedicated line for the Sunday Mass live cast. And this upgrade in internet speed much betters the quality of the video, which meets the demand of an increasing number of viewers to take part in the Sunday Mass online. And according to the YouTube statistics, and the monthly average views of this Sunday Mass online is up to 173,000. This is the highest monthly view, up to the 282,000. This shows the faithful are now more used to participate in online Mass, which is instructed by the diocese during the time actual Sunday Mass is suspended. And besides, we introduce one more feature in live casting Sunday Mass, that is a sign language. We invite one sign language volunteer to come to our studio each time when we do the live cast, and the volunteers sit in front of a blue cloth so that we could hear her conducting sign language when the Mass proceeds. And this is especially catered for the faithful who are hearing impaired. And also, as now we have to wear masks, those reading lip language now not able to do so. And the diocese considers the need of different Catholics and tries our every effort to meet the spiritual needs of them during the pandemic. Okay, now we come to the Catholic Youth Media Platform. And this program is called the Youth Boiling Point. And it pioneers the live event for the young people. And starting from February 2020, which pandemic started, and DAVC focused the resources on developing online programs. Amongst this, the Facebook page Youth Boiling Point, that is a Catholic youth media platform, which was initiated by late Bishop Michael Young and the Diocesan Youth Commission in 2018, who commit to the pastoral work on young people. And during the pandemic, DAVC further produces a series of online sharing sessions focusing on vocations. Speakers connected by Zoom, and program is live to social media platforms. Okay, then we come to connecting youth and religious, the vocation crossing online sharing events. And this is one of the series of online sharing programs. And people, speakers also connected by Zoom, and it is live cast to social media platforms, and they discuss on vocation topics. Chit-chat sections are designed to connect the youth and religious. Okay, then we come to the virtual choir, connecting the religious communities. Thank you. This live event is the consecrated brothers and sisters, priests and bishops singing together, Jesus Christ, you are my life. Just in the video, I think all of you have saw that this is the program to promote prayer for vocation. Since the pandemic, the faithful not able to take part in public mass or liturgy, and this makes them having less contact with priests or members of religious communities. So in May 2020, we gathered a group of religious, including Cardinal John Tong, Bishop Joseph Hall, the diocesan priests, seminarians, and priests and nuns from religious communities. They all formed a choir, around 50 of them, to celebrate the Vocations Month. Except a few of them, we went to take for them the video recording. Most of the choir members made their own video filming. The editing team applied effects to finally produce such an interesting and meaningful video. And this shows, despite of the limitations of face-to-face contact, our diocese thanks to the new technology and commits to adapt to the new to respond to the faithful spiritual need in such an extraordinary time. And this tells how our contact works. That is, every one of us could contribute ourselves in various aspects, enriching a common aim. Okay, now we come to Pray for Vocation campaign, and this is the Vocation Challenge. This is the third online program promoting vocation, and which is an initiative to encourage prayer for vocations. During the pandemic, organized activities or gathering are not allowed, and yet we initiated a vocation challenge to promote prayer and pilgrimage for vocations. Participants are encouraged to share their photos, videos, and vlog online for us to consolidate and report about their efforts. Okay, then we come to the fourth event, religious home office. They show us how they spend their time and what they do during this lockdown period. We have invited some priests or nuns to producing short videos to share with us how they maintain both physical and spiritual wellness. So, in the following slide, it shows it is Father Joseph Liu. He's a diocesan parish priest. He shared with us how he spent a weekday evening which was used to have meeting with other priests of the parish. Instead, he went for a night run. While he is jogging and filming himself, he introduced to us the neighborhood of the parish, including a few attractions of the same parish district. He said he is encouraged by his assistant parish priest, a French priest, in engaging in some physical training in order to maintain physical fitness and at the same time to enhance our spiritual awareness by reading Bible paragraphs and meditating when having a run. So now we come to the online mass live cast from the seminary. So this is the last online program on vocations I'm going to present, and it is the online live mass from the seminary by the seminarians. And the seminarians during the pandemic period, they assisted the live cast of weekday mass and evening prayer. According to one of the seminarians, they starting 6:30 every morning, and after the adoration of the Blessed Sacrament and meditation for half an hour, they have a 15-minute break to prepare the live cast equipment, so that the faithful could join them attending morning prayer and weekday mass on Facebook broadcast, in replacing the same parish we have usually. So we now come to our last presentation, the Life Pack campaign. And this is another highlighted campaign which is so fully utilized during the pandemic period. In view of the growing demand of parish doing live cast of their own Sunday Mass or some parish meeting or activity, CABC sees the need, and in response, we decided to tailor-make this campaign in the sense that we provide a set of live cast equipment, including a camera, tripod, audio recorder, live cast software, and every participating parish or group is entitled to attend a training class supported by us, by our staff, and we also offer technical support. And the Life Pack campaign has been started for almost 2 years, especially during the pandemic. Individual parish wants to live cast the Sunday Mass so that the parishioners could attend it online in the hope that they will not lose their faith and connection with the church amid the time all public mass is suspended. We hope by running this campaign, the parish could be supported technically to live cast themselves the Sunday Mass, and they, by strengthening the hardware on live cast, we hope they could be rendered actual help without having any hassle in carrying out the live cast. In this way, they could take care of the spiritual need of the parishioners in the absence of public mass and liturgy.
Laura?
Yes?
Ms. Laura Fu, I think the community that you belong to and the Catholic Diocesan Audiovisual Center, they're already practicing very well. Like the Cardinal Charles' message today, this is the best time for imagining what is possible in a new way and also create a new future. Your community is practicing very well, trying to reach out different targets based on the different needs, reach out to impaired people with a different strategy to reach out to them, and also the youth to connect with them. And I think excellent job has been doing very well. And also thank you so much for your great presentation.
សួស្តីឆ្នាំថ្មីប្រពៃណីខ្មែរកុំភ្លេចខ្លួនឡើយត្រូវថែរក្សាកុំភ្លេចសុវត្ថិភាពទាំងម៉ាស់ផងណាថែទាំគ្រួសារកូនប្រុងស្រី
Did you enjoy the music video? They look so joyful. But in fact, many Cambodians, they could enjoy New Year just by a virtual way because they couldn't visit their hometowns because of the COVID-19. This music video was produced by Lee Savannah, the director of Catholic National Office for Social Communications and the editor and publisher of the Catholic newspaper. He also served as a board member and vice president of SIGNIS Asia. This is about wishing New Year from Cambodia. This song was proposed by Bishop Olivier Schmetterle, Bishop of Phnom Penh, and composed by Mr. Samen from the Diocesan Art Office of Phnom Penh. Among the lyrics, best wishes, happiness, peace, prosper, blessing, happiness. All those words and singings conveys just the people's longing for happiness and longing for safety, especially in this time. You are watching the second day of the Cygnus World TV conference. The second day, it's more than 1 hour is running. So far, we had two presenters' presentations. And you may join by chatting or sending your messages, and maybe you can give your opinions of which presentation you like. You are watching the live streaming on CPBC YouTube, so you can interactively chat and join. It is so precious time to listen to vivid experiences from all the regions, not just from Asia, from other regions and countries, and listen to other people's voices and with our hearts. We will continue to deliver the efforts the Catholic communication and Catholic media has made so far in this difficult time. And the next section will be the section 3. We will address about the efforts and roles of Catholic media. Following yesterday, today's presentations are evaluated by the jury. Are you scoring now? At the beginning of the conference, 3 juries said hello. Maybe we may say hello again? Yeah. The audience score is not added to the jury's score, as I informed you earlier, but there might be a good reference to evaluate that later. In fact, for me, all presenters' presentations look very astonishing. So I think all juries might have some dilemma which presentation will be the last winner. The last presenter for today is Mr. Ignatius Christopher. He is the staff of Audiovisual Division, Commission of Social Commission of Social Communication of Bandung, Diocese from Indonesia. Mr. Christopher will talk about the other side of Corona.
Tuhan itu sudah bukan maha pengasih, sudah bukan maha penyayang, maha jahat.
Ya ampun, Papa kok bilangnya kayak gitu sih?
Lah Mama lihat aja sendiri sekarang. Berapa ratus ribu orang yang tidak berdosa sekarang kena virus corona. Berapa banyak dokter, tim medis kena virus corona. Bukan cuma sakit mah, hilang nyawa. Berapa juta orang sekarang yang kelaparan karena kehilangan pekerjaan, kena PHK. Dunia hancur, ekonomi hancur, toko tutup, pabrik tutup. Semua susah sekarang mah.
Pastor, iya sih Pak.
Maaf Pastor,
ya, selamat siang.
Ribut siang Pastor.
Tapi
maaf
kok ribut-ribut saja? Dekat pada Bunda Maria, dekat pada gereja.
maaf.
Ada apa?
Kalau memang Tuhan itu ada, kenapa sekarang Tuhan diam saja, Pastor? Situasi seperti ini, dunia hancur. Ya maaf, Pastor, saya tidak percaya sama Tuhan.
Apakah menurut Pastor wabah corona ini merupakan kutukan dari Allah? Atau bahkan hukuman dari Allah buat manusia karena manusia itu kan berdosa terus gitu Pastor. Atau apakah virus corona ini merupakan panggilan untuk bertobat? Untuk bisa manusia bisa berubah menjadi lebih baik seperti itu Pastor?
Menarik, sangat menarik bagi saya pertanyaan kayak ginian. Usul saya, mari kita duduk saja, kita ngobrol bersama-sama. Saya mau menjelaskan sedikit. Ya, nah, sepakat dulu. Tidak fair, tidak sportif, tidak bagus kalau kita menyalahkan Tuhan kalau Tuhan tidak salah. Ya.
Taunya dari mana, Pastor?
Nah, jadi namanya Tuhan kita ini tidak mempunyai hobi untuk memarahi orang, tidak mempunyai hobi untuk menghukum orang. Tuhan itu maha baik. Tapi saya keberatan kalau kita mengatakan, Tuhan kenapa kasih corona? Tuhan akan minta supaya kita introspeksi. Supaya kita mawas diri. Mengapa sampai dunia yang diciptakan oleh Tuhan begitu indah, begitu bagus? Kok menjadi kayak gini? Maka kata saya, kendati seharusnya corona tidak ada. Mati, sengsara, penderitaan, nganggur, betul. Tapi akhirnya ada introspeksi, berubah. Tantangan dari Allah asalnya untuk berubah. Di tengah-tengah segala penyakit ada tawaran kesembuhan.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ignatius Christopher. I am from Commission of Social Communication of Bandung Diocese from Indonesia. So tonight I'm gonna talking about the other side of Corona. We already watched the program before this. So let's start. The other side of Corona, time to reflect on our circumstances and decide what needs to change. So the summary of what we're gonna talking about right now is what Father Leo says, and the second what Father Leo says about Corona, and the third other program during this pandemic. Okay, so let's start. What Father Leo says? What Father Leo says is a catechesis program. We created a catechesis program that targets young people, and it can also be followed by adults. The title, What Father Leo Says, deliberately in the format like short movie program, packaged in everyday language, and the selection program is real among Catholics. So many catechesis programs are developed in a conventional manner, like a father preaching, teaching with Holy Scripture, and for young people, program like that is no longer interesting on this generation. So in order to answer the need of young people, the need of catechist program for young people, also that the audience who participate in this program did not feel monotonous and like what we thought, a program that was lighter, full of simple dialogue, but had a deep message was created. We paid close attention to pick the right theme or the right topic. The topic must be one that is very close to everyday life experience, using the story that illustrate everyday experience by people, and then discuss lightly but deeply with Father Leo. So in the program that was broadcast earlier is an example of catechism program What Father Leo Says. The theme was about the coronavirus pandemic that currently sweeping the world. This coronavirus pandemic is destroying human life, make people frustrated, angry, afraid, confused, sad, disappointed, and then begin to completely or their faith in God. Humans began to doubt that God exists or not. Even if you believe that God exists, in today's human eyes, God is evil. Some people say God is evil, full of revenge, full of anger, and makes people suffer. They ask, whose fault is this corona? Why God is sending this coronavirus? So in this condition of the human life, we try to give another point of view about this coronavirus. Coronavirus is not a punishment, but it is a grace from God who loves human. So the script of these programs also made by Father Leo himself. So this is the point of view of Father Leo, how he look about this corona, how he manage this coronavirus among the people. So coronavirus is not a punishment, but it is a grace from God who loves human. Father Leo remind us that with the coronavirus, the world was healed, repaired from all damage caused by human carelessness and greed. Human life is like being reset in order to return to living a better life with the delivery of this program. So we hope that Catholic people can face the pandemic with gratitude, not always asking whose fault is this corona. So never give up and continue to fight against corona for a better life. So other than this program, we also make and host another program. We collaborate with other dioceses to make many programs like Novena for Child Protection or Missionary Rosary Prayer alternately from diocese in Indonesia, and online mass, of course, from YouTube. And after so many years, we can collaborate with government national television for online mass broadcasting. And the third, we made two national virtual choir festival, and then online prayer like rosary and novena, and many more program during this pandemic event. So with the delivery of this program and other programs, we hope that Catholic people can face the pandemic with gratitude, never give up, and continue to fight against Corona for a better life. So that's it for me. Thanks, and we hope we can fight the Corona for a better world. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a great message. Thank you, Mr. Ignatius Christopher. His message was about the other side of Corona that is ringing our mind today. Because Indonesia hosted the first SIGNIS Asia TV conference in 2019. Maybe Ignatius Christopher might have more acknowledgement about the role of Catholic. Yes, we have 3 presentations so far for the competition. Let's cheer for all participants with a big round of applause. Because we are remote and participating in a virtual way, so maybe we wave our hands as Cardinal yesterday, Cardinal Tagle instructed us. Actually, the body language, this seems to be a great tool to reach out to more diverse people, regardless of any barriers of different languages and different reasons. So let's do very often. Another special presentation is followed by Ms. Laika Lakinanum. Ms. Laika Lakinanum is the department head of the digital media production of the Communication Foundation for Asia in the Philippines. She will talk about the Lead the New Normal.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Laika Lakindanong from Communication Foundation for Asia, and I am from the Philippines. So let me start my presentation with a quick story to tell. So just last year under the pandemic, one day I found my mom having a really hard time looking at her phone. So I asked, Mom, what happened? And she said she is looking for a church live mass. Unfortunately, that time, it was not that popular yet, so only few were doing it. And you see, she is a devoted Catholic. And when the pandemic hit and we were on lockdown, she had no choice but to stay home. And it really hit her hard because she didn't know how she can still attend Mass. Aside from praying inside the house, she cannot do all those traditional religious things that she usually does. So from that time, I didn't think it was something important. But now that I'm looking back at it, an idea actually stemmed from that experience. So let me just share my PowerPoint. So lead the new normal, innovating the bridges of faith. So as the world seemed to navigate on moving forward, I want to share this big difference when a youth like me grew in an environment where we are challenged to be game changers that takes crisis as opportunities to do differently, to create alternatives, not just alternatives, but creative alternatives beyond the normal, and of course to help lead new normal of projects, productions that centers on development, faith, and communication. So while we're at it, let me show you how we served God through media under the pandemic last year. So the pandemic happened in the Philippines on March, and it just so happens that the lockdown in the Philippines took place near the holiest of days. which is Lent season. And people usually are used to go to churches and participate in religious traditions and activities. But however, because of pandemic, they cannot do that. So what CFA did was to hold Holy Week services virtually. So we had Holy Week trivias, live broadcast of Seven Last Words, exposition of the Blessed Sacrament, and the Easter celebration. So these are intimate productions where limited of people, of production people were there, and also safety protocols were observed. And other than that, when no one was leading a prayer to heroes of pandemic, we were one of the first to hold two online novenas for frontliners, which are the doctors, policemen, and backliners. I mean, these are the grocery cashiers, the people from the bank, things that are necessary. No? And we prayed and thanked them for their contribution and sacrifice, even despite the pandemic, which they should have stayed at home, but because we need them, they didn't. And after that Holy Week, after the Holy Week, we survived the Holy Week. We actually realized that we could do the online, being virtual, being visible online. So we could actually use this crisis as an opportunity to produce more programs of faith. That is when we decided to add two regular contents posted weekly on our YouTube and Facebook page. The first one is Tigatik ng Duno or Drizzle of Knowledge. This is where we give not so known trivias about saints, feasts, and religious holidays of the Catholics. Because we knew that most people celebrate these holidays without knowing the real meaning behind it. So that was the purpose of it. The next one is Kwentoliko. Maikling kwento ng buhay Katoliko, or in translation, in English translation, Cuento is story and Katoliko is Catholic. So these are little stories of the life of Catholics. So it was hosted by a priest where he receives letters from viewers, from friends, and sometimes his personal experiences. And each topic has a specific lesson at the end. So it is also an intimate production where it led up to 60 episodes. And and this May 2021, we continued the journey in season 2. So we really think that storytelling is beneficial, and we utilize it in a way where people can relate to experiences. And when it does that, it provides the authentic learning experience, and in this case, of Christian values and ethics. So fast forward a year in a pandemic, and the Holy Week happened again, and we are still stuck inside our houses. Nothing changed. So we thought we needed to step up the game. So this is where we ventured into a live program entitled Lakbay Nilay, or Journey Through Reflection. The purpose was to combine the usual Holy Week tradition of Visita Iglesia, or visiting the churches, and a prayer for Via Lucis, or the 14 stations of the resurrection of Jesus. And in this program, we invited guests and they toured us in their place of faith. May it be church, may it be home altars, but mostly it's visiting the church. So this happened while the tour was happening. They inputs little stories of faith, of how everything happened in their life, and at the end of the program, they lead us to the station assigned to them to pray for the Via Lucis. It was a simple program, but with a very heartful content, especially if they're seeing the uh, really old and historical churches in the Philippines. It was really heartwarming to see. So it was a successful production, I must say. Just couple of notes. We have to have really extra careful coordination because each guest has, different location and technicalities. So we have to consider a lot of things. Have a lot of technical runs if you need, and of course, connectivity is your enemy. So make sure everything has backup and everything is supported. Yeah. So you see, these are some of the production that we did under the pandemic. It took a lot of time and effort to do these alternatives, but in my opinion, the best part in doing these productions is that we get to echo our strategy, our process, our ideas to people who wants to learn. Just like what we're doing now in the virtual conference. We are so glad we could share this with you. And just last month, we finished our 30th Catechetical Congress, wherein we taught at least 300 plus catechists on how to continue their teachings online and using video productions also. And when I realized that, it's just like I'm looking at my mom, finding out she's struggling on her phone one day, and now she finally learns how to maximize her internet, cell phone, go online, all because we have learned how to teach her, and then we taught her well. Yeah, that's really, really good. So this is the reason for my presentation. COVID-19 has forced people, young and old, to go digital in a short period of time. And unfortunately, some people are still having a difficult time doing it. I'm not saying everyone should be capable of doing online and fixing everything, but I think this is something where young people can help and lead the new normal. So basically, how can we do this? You can do this by learning, by leading, and by teaching, the programs that you have learned. Especially programs or productions that you made with your own vision. And like me, you can start with faith. It just so happens that Holy Week happened and, it was a quick response, but it was really fruitful process. So with doing that, you touch one person and then they touch another, it is a ripple effect. So let me just, give you a thought. This happening right now, this will not be forever. There will come a time that we will recover from the pandemic, and we determine this recovery with the actions we take and the choices we make right now. So I think using the power of internet and videos to use as a platform for engagement, for enrichment and empowerment, just think, how can we transform this crisis into an opportunity where we can make the world a better world than it was before the pandemic? So maybe you could answer the question. And I really would like to challenge you to lead the new normal and be a game changer. Again, this is Laika Lakindanon from Communication Foundation for Asia and from the Philippines, saying thank you so much.
You are watching the second day of the SIGNIS Asia TV Conference 2021, live streaming CPBC YouTube, both in English and in Korean. In the meantime, while we are listening to great presentations, we were receiving many greetings and comments from the audience. I would like to introduce some of them. We received greetings from Singapore, Bangkok, India, Philippines, and Nepal, and many other regions. And also some comments from Dr. Maggie. He mentioned the pandemic has brought out all the inside stories, especially the increasing gap between the rich and the poor. Our only response should be action, right? Action, just to do it. Yesterday, we also had that message too from the presentation. SIGNIS Indonesia Association sent a message that pandemic is increasing social solidarity. It's an expression of a great love of Jesus. Let's do it. Another message is from Divine Rhythm. This message is about the great compliments about the music video that we shared. A really wonderful song, very melodic. Thank you so much. And another message from C.M. Paul, that pandemic has given opportunity to believers to be the good news to suffering humanity. And let me introduce some comments from the Korean audience. We had many comments about for wishing peace and the proclamation of gospel in Myanmar from Chang Jae-soo and Inegrium. And also Inegrium mentioned we need the solidarity and interactive communication in this time. And also Ms. Berushia mentioned, Jesus Christ, you are my life. And also she wishes for the Hong Kong Catholic addressing to the pandemic. And the best of luck to her, and God bless to them too. Thank you all the audience to join with this great message and in the encouraging us. All right. Now we will have an open discussion session. I will moderate the discussion with 4 presenters today, 3 presenters for the competition presentation and the 1 presenter for the special presentation. And also I would like to include our jury for this discussion. So before moving on, before introducing all participants for the discussion, I would like to remind you of the topic, what we will discuss. This will be about the efforts and roles of the Catholic media. While listening to speeches and presentations for 2 days, we strongly realized that broadcast and online systems are becoming the most prominent solutions, especially in this era. And these medias are emerging as the most important and influential chapter to support the proclamation of the gospel in churches around the world. So we will discuss about the efforts and the roles of the Catholic media. Now, let me invite 4 people for the discussion. And also the 3 jury to the discussion room. Father Joby Anand from India, and Miss Laura Fu from Hong Kong, and Mr. Ignatius Christopher from Indonesia, and also juries Mr. Agustin Antuvan, and Mr. Romulus Lee, and Miss Liza Bazan. Do we shave our hands again? Do we wave our hands? Why don't we start with Mr. Agustin Antuvan's some comments while listening to all presenters' presentation and also thinking about the topic for today.
Thank you, Anna. Actually, I have a question I want to throw back at the 3 presenters today, even the special presenter and the presenters who presented on day 1, and the presenter who will come on in day 3. The question is very simple. It came from both Cardinal Tagle and also today from Cardinal from Myanmar, that we make the assumption that we talk about washing our hands and we have access to running water. We talk about social distancing, but how do the poor and the vulnerable living in the slums accomplish that? So my question to the presenters is, what are you going to do once we are out of the COVID, hopefully by next year, so that we can meet in Seoul, South Korea for the Congress? So in order for that to happen, what are you going to do moving forward? Because many of the things that we have heard today, the liturgical celebrations, the broadcasting and the live streaming of Mass, the catechesis, the prayers were done before COVID and will continue post-COVID. But if you were put in a position, presenters, what will you keep from now into the next level? Which of your projects will you keep, which came during COVID, that you will continue in the next level? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
That's the great question. Thank you so much, Mr. Antovan. So do you want me to ask this question to presenters right now, or maybe you can wait until we have some comments from Ms. Lisa?
It's okay. It's okay. We can wait.
Yeah. Hello, Lisa Bazan.
Hello, from Trinidad.
Yes, it's early in the morning there too?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw yesterday you were drinking a coffee. That's necessary. Thank you for joining us in the early time.
Thank you. I think listening to everyone speak on the different presentations is so encouraging. It's so great to be able to see what everybody's doing, and I think that on the topic of the efforts and roles of Catholic media, we need to also remember that we all have a responsibility. So in what we teach, in what we broadcast, and in all of the messages that we bring across, we need to remember that everything needs to be the truth. Pope Francis talks a lot about broadcasting of the truth. And there's so much going on around, especially during this pandemic, that is sensationalized and exaggerated, and in some cases not even told. The message is not even told. So as media, we have that responsibility to bring the reality of what's happening across through our platforms, and to really challenge the young journalists especially to go out there and get the stories. I know it's very difficult during pandemic to be walking around and getting stories, but we can also get people to take their smartphones and send us messages and so on, to be able to get the reality of what's happening, because mass media tends to exaggerate everything and we don't always get the real situation.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Riza Bazan. Yeah, now I will invite for people to discuss and to answer to Mr. Augustine's question. Who will answer that first? Maybe the Father Joby Anand from India, because India has been struggling from the second wave of the pandemic, and it's especially in the difficult times. So you might have the more idea to move on to the next step, as Mr. Augustine asked, and also based on your project.
Yes, commenting upon the first part of the second wave in India, that has hit us all hard. And as you are very well aware of, from so many of our acquaintance, we have lost people. We have lost fathers, priests, number of priests and sisters. It's a it's a struggling period, and it has hit us very hard. Now I'll move on to the second question, maybe. What to continue? Yes. Something that yesterday Father David was saying, that Mother Television is like a parish. We have come in touch with so many people, very personally. We were not just giving them a spiritual service like Mass, or, it was not a very impersonal sort of service. It was a very personal service that we are engaged. We know the people. We know their difficulties, their fears. So therefore, we will continue to personally pray for people, because these people respond to us. Every day we receive about at least hundreds of prayer requests. We have a prayer cell as well. And they have quite a lot of trust in us. Quite a lot of trust they have entrusted with us. That will continue personally, individually. We will be praying for each person. So that is one thing to continue. And many people seek a lot of counseling support from us. And very especially during this pandemic. People are very scared here. I just do not know whether you know the struggles that we are through. One thing is fear. Everyone is so frightened. We cannot just isolate oneself here. In a family, if one person is affected, everyone is affected. And often, in about 5 families, one person is lost. You know the stories that are coming up in our media. There are no oxygens. There are no sufficient medicines, many things like that. It's really a struggle for us. We have never seen a period like this, and I just pray that none of you go through this horrible experience. So we'll continue the counseling part of it. Third, as I said, for many people, we are like a shrine where they want to come and visit and stay with us. So we will continue those facilities. We will open up our house for public to come and pray here. Maybe we will organize retreats, residential retreats for them, which is already in pipeline. Because for many people, we have been spiritual consolation all throughout, at least North India. So that's the third course of action. And fourth, we have, as I said, we have 2 programs, Feed a Stomach and Feed a Family, which we have already continued. We are already continuing these programs for the people in India. So these are the 4 immediate responses that has come into my mind, and I wanted to bring to Mr. Augustine's attention. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Father Joby Anand. All your ideas, including personal attachment, seems to be a good solution for the next step. Time is running out, so I would like to have more opinions and ideas and discussions, but we'd better save for the later time. So far, we have listened to all presenters' presentations for today. How was the second day of the SIGNIS Asia TV conference 2021? It was any different from the yesterday? Are we connected much closer than yesterday? I hope so. With the theme of Are We Connected, we try to find out how the Catholic communication system it works as a network between the church, the world, and Catholics. We Catholic media professionals, our seamless efforts to change something and to reach out to the world, this challenge, especially in the midst of the limited conditions it will change our daily life and our religious life too. At the last, I would like to express my gratitude to all participants who contribute to the conference with the great message and the great efforts, and all the CPBC staff and organizing members to work for this mixed media conference. And also, like yesterday, more importantly, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to all the audience who has kept watching and joining this conference, especially with your very heartfelt messages as well. Tomorrow, the third day of the SIGNIS Asia TV conference will address about the theme of Do We Connect Around? We will try to pursue future direction of the Catholic and the Catholic media communication, and also the media professionals as well. Especially on the last day of the competition, tomorrow, there will be the big announcement to choose the winner of this competition. And also tomorrow, the Archbishop Alfred Suerev, the Apostolic Nuncio to South Korea, will deliver closing remarks. Tomorrow, I hope to see you all again from 8 to 10 p.m. Korean Standard Time, again here, through the CPBC YouTube online channel that will be also live streaming both in Korean and in English. Thank you so much. 홍콩은 좀 한번 물어보고 싶었는데 55분을 약속해갖고 그래서 사실은 저기다 말하려고 그랬어. 근데 오디오가 켜지고 있어서 물어볼 수가 없잖아요. 그래서 홍콩은 네.
Bye everyone. See you tomorrow.
제가
Thank you so much.